Evening. Monday night, of course, is transfer. Looking into the rumours regarding Newcastle United. Join us for the transfer show now with me, Anas, on the Toon Review.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Toon Review, where tonight it is Transfer Show, the Monday night Transfer Show, and boy, have we got a few names to go through tonight. It seems like every man and his dog have been linked with us tonight, or during the day, should I say, and crazy, but we know that is going to happen now between now and the end of the transfer window. What's going on at Newcastle United, desperately needing to find some players. I've seen the sort of review that you guys did on the match. I didn't see it as quite as positively as you maybe did, but we'll discuss that a little bit later on. I think everybody's got the views on the match, to be honest. I just worry that if we play like that, we'll get absolutely stonked on Sunday. I really do. But you know what? Hopefully not. Hopefully it was the heat. Hopefully we just ran out of steam. I know, Alex, you mentioned that a few times, running out of steam, which is definite possibility. But my worry is, how come Brighton didn't? That's the worrying thing for me. Maybe we went too hard.
They've been playing that game for a few years now. They're a lot more competent at that than we are. We're still learning. But we need,
if fitness shouldn't be a worry. That's all I'm saying. But there was a few off days, let's face it. They weren't all at the best, and that's going to happen this season where, some of the players aren't at the best, and it's just one of them things. But listen, to come away from Brighton with a point after they beat Man United, I'm perfectly happy with that, to be honest. I just think we do need improvements, because as soon as we make a substitution, we ain't got the same quality on the pitch, and that's where we need a bit bigger squad depth, in my opinion. But listen, before we start, a massive shout out to everybody for the get well messages. For me, it was probably one of the most scariest moments of my life I've had. I don't recall much about Friday night. I remember feeling that my blood sugar was dropping. I came off a couple of times. People thought it was for banter. Unfortunately, it wasn't. Certainly the last time. I basically thought I'd get up and go and try and find something sugary. And next thing I know, I'm being revived on the living room floor by Susan, who basically saved my life on Friday night. Because if I'd been there any longer, I probably wouldn't be here now. Once you sort of go into a coma, it's very difficult to come out of that. So it was very scary. It's shook me up a hell of a lot. Mentally, I don't think I'm still back to normal. Physically, almost there. Blood sugars have been fine over the last couple of days. Just been resting up. I slept most of Saturday, to be honest, apart from the match. And yesterday, again, just rested up. Susan's been looking after the kids and everything like that. She's been absolutely remarkable. And to know that there's somebody like that by your side when things like that happen, it's quite reassuring. So, you know what, for all that happened, she's got a... And my little lad as well, Ben, he was... The weird thing when I was on, I wasn't conscious, but I could hear him shouting at me, which is a really strange feeling, but you just can't wake up. And then obviously my eldest daughter rang the ambulance and things like that. So they came out. It was about 2 hours after that they managed to get out to me, because they said on the 999 call that they had over 77 life or death situations that they were being called to around County Durham. So unfortunately, they couldn't get out as quick as they wanted to, but I'd pretty much stabilized by the time they got out to me. They did all the checks, the blood checks and all that, and just told me to get some more toast inside us and, carbs and stuff. And pulled round. But it was very, very scary. And like I said, it has shook me up quite badly. But hey ho, we go on. I wanted to get back on because it gives me a focus and something to get excited about. Hopefully a few transfers coming in, but we'll see. We'll go through some comments first of all, but once again I must say thank you to everybody that has messaged. I did see the odd idiot in the chat, unfortunately, who decided to think that for some reason I thought I was special. Wow. Crazy, but these people don't deserve to be on the planet, to be fair, but never mind. We'll not give them any more airtime. Ian, thank you very much for your £10 super chat. This is great to see you back, Paul. Hope you're okay. And Alvin Messenger, thank you for your $10, mate. Paul, great to see you back. Just sit back, relax, and enjoy life. All the best. Thanks very much, mate. YT, hope was all well. Paul, massive shout out to the Toon Review family. Louis, good evening. Thanks, mate. The Britain Young podcast. See, Conte and Tuchel have been charged by the FA after the match on Sunday. It's Louis just can't be asked to change accounts. Oh, okay. Well, you did. You've had an account there, and then you've changed it. Okay. That was a bit strange. Chippers, thank you for your £20 super chat, matey. That's really kind of you. Great you were back on your feet, mate. Susan, you're a hero. Not all of them need or wear capes, indeed. Do you know what? If I could marry that woman, I'd do it tomorrow. She's just my life, absolutely. And I'll forever say that. And I'm not embarrassed to say it. I'm not one of these lads that's too macho to say how he feels. This woman, she's everything to me and saved my life on Friday night. So yeah. What did you make of the Conte Tuchel situation? I just found that extraordinary. Alex?
I mean, it was exacerbated by poor officiating, but it doesn't excuse them. I think Conte is. I mean, everybody knows my thoughts about Italy in the Euros and how they beat us, and how when they won, all they wanted to do was mock us, not celebrate their own win. It's how they're built. It's how they're wired in Italian football specifically. And Conte was quite happy as soon as something went Tottenham's way to gloat instead of cheer, because it's just what they do. And I hate it personally. I think it's a horrible way to enjoy football. They're entitled to enjoy it their own way. But and then Tuchel obviously kind of fair enough didn't like that and reacted, bumped into him in the first time, challenged, and then it was all, scuffly. And at the end as well, Tuchel obviously held onto his hand firmly to try and assert a bit of dominance.
Sort of crush his hand, didn't he? It was bizarre.
Well, I mean, he got the dominance because Conte sort of went, it is what it is. It's just a weird little, two alpha male managers trying to show who's the biggest tiger in the woodsy, jungly, whatever it is. It was weird. It was dramatic. It was fun for neutrals. The officials probably should have done a lot better, but yeah.
I mean, how that wasn't a foul on Cucurella, I'll never know. I mean, literally getting thrown to the floor by his hair, and the fact that VAR looked at it and didn't even award a free kick, and then of course they go and score. I just, Billy, I found that extraordinary, and when the Chelsea fans were saying that Anthony Taylor, was it Taylor or
Taylor,
that he's got something against Chelsea. Do you know what? When you look at the decisions that were given, just incredible.
Well, I'm not sure about that. I mean, apparently he's refereed Chelsea on 8 other occasions, and they've won every time. And Spurs has refereed them on 6 occasions, and they'd win every time. So someone had to give, unless it was a draw, and it ended up being a draw. I felt sorry for Chelsea because they were the streets ahead of Spurs.
I thought Chelsea were brilliant yesterday.
And on the pitch itself, they were miles ahead of Spurs. I thought Spurs were really disappointing. And I think the referee did let them down. And the hair pulling thing, I just reminded of Louis van Gaal and that ridiculous kind of strange interview he did when he was at Man United. Do you remember only in whatever he said, is it acceptable to pull people's hair? It was just absolutely crazy. Red card all day long.
What kind of accent were you trying to do there, Billy, before you stopped yourself?
I was trying to do Louis van Gaal, but I wasn't going to say the words he said.
Yeah. Thomas Pears, thank you for your £4.49, mate. Very, very kind. Happy you're back on your feet, Paul. Thank God Susan was there. Indeed. It was, to be honest, it was my little lad that found me on the floor. And then Susan we don't live together at the minute, so Susan had to rush down. She only lives same village, so she flew down, and because she was the only one that actually sort of knew what to do. But the other guys in the house now have been. I mean, poor Ben. He was telling everybody that I needed sugar, but there wasn't much in the house, and that was my fault. So, yeah. John's back door. Good evening. Hope you're well. John Doe says, evening all. How tired are we all feeling with the repeated low ball deals, out of hand rejection, giving up and then repeating? Tired much? Look, I was going to bring that up tonight, to be honest, because I'm getting a little cheesed off, I have to say. Going in with these, what I think are piss poor offers. I do believe that it's now time that we stumped up, the valuation, and instead of just going in low balling all the time. We are losing out on players because of the low balling, and you know what? There's not much longer left, okay, to get deals done, proper deals, rather than rush them through on deadline day. And I just feel like it's about time that we started going in with proper offers instead of just low. We're not going to get these players for low ball offers. It's quite clear. Even Watford have turned around, and said no. Outright for Joao Pedro, they've said no. I mean, Alex, I know you kind of split with this one, but it is the case every time we're going low ball. And do you think it's maybe time to change?
I don't agree. I do understand where people are coming from. I understand the concept. I just don't agree. I think Joao Pedro isn't worth more than 25, possibly 30 at a massive stretch.
Yeah, but we've gone in at 17, Alex. It's nowhere near what he's valued at.
It's a first offer. You don't go in with the full whack. It makes sense as a first bid. I'm sure the club weren't expecting that to be accepted. It scales up. Look, my opinion on this, it stems back to the Ekitike deal. They accepted, Rem accepted nearly 10 million less for him to go to PSG than we offered. We offered 10 million more, and he went to a different club. And I think the club are sick of it, and they want to do their own strategy. They've got their own targets, and they want to do it their way. And if anybody tries to bully them, they are trying to set the standard that they have the final say in every deal, and they're not going to submit to anybody. I kind of like that, to be fair. I completely sympathize and understand it's nervy and it's scary. But after 14 years of absolute nothing, apart from our 5th place season, which is pretty exciting, it's happening anyway. We are inevitable. We are going to the top. So I don't mind this, because I feel like if we do give in and break strategy, it's going to have a knock-on effect for the next 5-10 transfers of the next 3, 4, 5 windows. Yes, I'm also upset. I would have loved some of these lads to come through the door. We've been linked with some brilliant players, and it's a shame. But I hats off to them for sticking to their guns and their principles. And if we finish slightly lower because they're trying to be strict, there'll be a lot of unhappy people, but it will pay off in 4, 5, 6 transfer windows time. Yeah. When we're getting good deals.
I think, it's opinions, isn't it? That's my opinion. You've given
yours. Both can be true at the same time.
Yeah, of course.
To be fair.
Yeah. What I'll say is, I think 17.5 million. You go on.
2 seconds. We just got a £6.10 super chat in there from the usual guy, and it's gone off the screen just as I was about to say it, but I'll come to that. And 17.99 from Zishan. Thank you very much, Zishan. Evening, peeps. Hope you're well, Paul. But you should have taken a couple more days off. The 2 diamonds next, you did a cracking job on the review show. Yeah, I know they did. But listen, I've explained why I'm doing it. I need to get myself doing some sort of normality. Because if I'm just sitting thinking about what happened on Friday, I make myself worse, to be honest. So it gives me a bit of a focus. And there's the love of my life, the absolute rock, the amazing woman that is Susan. Good evening. Billy, what were you going to say there?
Well, I just think £17.5 million is a lot of money for a Championship player who, for all intents and purposes, scored 3 goals last season in the Premier League. Yeah, I think it's a very fair offer. Okay, fine. Watford aren't accepting it. Whether we continue with that or not, I don't know. But I think it's a lot of money for a Championship player. I've got to say.
Well, I'll explain why they rejected it in a bit.
Look, I mean, the only reason I'm getting a bit like that is because I just felt that on Saturday there was nobody came off that we had on the bench that could come and change that game in any shape or form. Because yes, the starting 11, fantastic, which is really good. Oh, Michael Marsden, thank you for your 89.99 super chat. Thank you so much, buddy. Hi, Paul. Great to see you back on the show. Billy and Alex, hope you're both well. Thank you, Michael. Looking forward to seeing you again on Saturday for the game, mate. The starting 11 for me, that first half was good enough. I'm not so sure Callum Wilson's goal should have been disallowed. I was pretty pissed about that, to be honest.
So was Shearer, to be fair.
Yeah, I saw that. But then second half, when Brighton were pretty much on top of us, you're just looking for that little bit of a change. And there was nobody on that bench that could come on that pitch and make a change. Murphy came on, didn't really do anything. Sean Longstaff came on again. He's not a game changer, and we need a bit more squad depth. And that's what concerns me at the minute, is that we don't have that depth. We've got Man City on Sunday, and yes, our starting 11 will probably give them a good game. But when it comes to tiring legs, you look at what City can bring on to what we can bring on. And, I personally think Elliot Anderson should have come on, because he is the kind of player that maybe can change a little bit, bring him on for 20 minutes, see what he can do. But again, it's up to Eddie what he does, but it's just that depth.
We did have the extra substitution, so we could have done that.
A bit bizarre, but you know what? We got a point. We're still unbeaten, and that's the positive thing. We've got 2 clean sheets as well, and Nick Pope for me was absolutely fantastic. Not just the saves he made, but the way he commanded his area again. When Brighton played the balls into the channels or over the top, he was out in a flash. And for me, he doesn't just welly the ball away. If he has to, he does. But then most of the time, he'll control it and then act as a sweeper, which you mentioned earlier on when we signed him, Alex, like the sweeper-keeper role. That he starts a move off again by just passing it out and getting us going again, which is brilliant.
He was always trying to throw it out, roll it out really quickly and get us going. Yeah,
absolutely. Geordie Metal, thank you for your £20 super chat. He says, after the Brighton game, it's a must that we buy at least 2 more players, or I can't see us hitting the top 10. It's about squad depth. It's not about panicking. But everybody can see that we need that additional quality to come off the bench. And we've all spoke about it earlier on in the transfer shows, where we've all said, we need to bring a player off and replace him with a similar quality.
I do have something to say about the comments like that, to be fair. You've got to look at people who we were scared of, clubs around us, such as Villa and West Ham. We were getting a bit scared that they were beating us to signings.
Yeah,
they've both started very poorly, albeit some injuries. Diego Carlos has been injured. Scamacca's not hit the ground. A lot of these transfers that we were worried about haven't done a lot so far, and a lot of them are losing games. A lot of them are further down the table, and we're 4 points, 2 matches, looking healthy. Everybody's fit. We know we need a couple more players, but the teams that are battling around for that sort of 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, we don't, apart from Brighton, look possibly slightly better than us, but West Ham don't. Leicester, I would argue, don't, and Villa certainly don't. So I'm not scared. I think we're fine, and I think we will get 2 new players in anyway. So,
well, I kind of had to have a little bit of a when Aston Villa tweeted out today that Diego Carlos had suffered the ligament. I just sort of jumped on the timeline and just wrote "oh dear" in cap and then exclamation marks, just for the shite that they give us when they bought him, of course. So, we've beat you to him, and now he's out for quite a long period of time. Michael says 17 million for Pedro. Why didn't we just buy Dennis, who looks a player? Baffling. I
will explain. Don't worry. There was something, by the way, that I have to kind of mention. Callum Window, me and Billy found this out after the show ended yesterday. We were having a look at different players, and one of our favourites, PSG, let him go on Friday to Lens in the club where he'd already spent 2 seasons on loan. So he disappeared back to them for 20 million, which is quite a low fee, to be fair. So that means, Ekitike has played 13 minutes so far in like 4 matches. So ha 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 ha.
Well, didn't we all say that was going to happen? We said that. Where is he going to get game time? I mean, I know he's only a kid and he's got the future and stuff like that when the older guys move on. I mean, inevitably they will. Neymar's getting on. Messi's certainly getting on. So, maybe his chance will come in time, but that's just one of those strange ones. Up the A1, thank you for your £5 super chat, buddy. Look after yourself. That is the main thing. Thanks, mate. Dominic says Shelvey is a great servant, but I wouldn't include him in the 25-man squad as he may be out until after the World Cup. Billy, that's an interesting one. For me, I don't see why he gets included if he's going to be out injured till after the World Cup, because we can obviously rename the squad again in January, and it would give the place to maybe one of the youngsters.
I couldn't agree more. He's going to be a waste of a squad place, isn't he? So no need to pick him until January. The only problem with that is if someone comes in, does a job, and Xavi can't get back in, he's not going to be the happiest bunny of all. But I mean, at the end of the day, he's injured. He's not going to be any use to us. So why would you put him in a position where he can't play and he's on a squad, wasting the place, really? So yeah, I agree. I totally agree.
Alex, how do you feel about it?
Sorry, I was checking some news.
Sorry.
Refresh my memory. What was the question?
Shelvey, me and Billy are the opinion that maybe he shouldn't be included. And it's nothing against John Joe, but it's if he's going to be out till January, then why put him in the squad?
Well, I need to double check because obviously you can re-register people again. So I'd have to go and double check when that is, because maybe they're hoping they can get 4 or 5 matches out of him. Anyway, maybe that's the logic. Maybe they're hoping he comes back. All the World Cups on, he has a really good recovery and he plays. But it is a strange one. It is a bit odd. I mean, the youngsters wouldn't take up a spot, so I don't think there's anybody to include. I get it's weird, but unless we sign, 3 more players or something, I mean, arguably we still need to clear out Richie. Fernandez just isn't playing. I know he's just coming back from another little injury, but that's 2. Who's the other one? There's somebody else as well. Potentially, whoever comes in who can play as a winger, we need to get rid of one of ours. Yeah, I don't know. It's a funny one.
Interesting from Stephen. He says, I don't think they ran out of steam. Just think they were too hot in them tops and had dehydration and heat exhaustion. I thought the tops were awful. They're horrible. They didn't even. I mean, Billy, I heard you last night on the show saying that it didn't even look like a football strip. It just looked like a t-shirt, and I 100% agree with you. It was horrible, and I don't see where I've looked a million times, and I cannot work out how one of the other strips clashed with Brighton. I just don't get that. But was it? Do you think because they're not proper football strips in the way that they sort of handle the sweat and things like that these sort of modern day football shirts do, would that have caused a problem?
I'm sure they've had them adapted to be used for professional football in a game situation. I just thought that they didn't match the shorts. I think the shorts were a bad choice. I think if they're on there maybe with different colour shorts, it just didn't look. It looked like a load of kids in the park playing, basically.
Yeah,
I thought it was embarrassing. I honestly thought it was embarrassing.
It was. I just hate them. I don't want to see us wear them again, to be honest. Maybe they're nice for the fans to buy, and with the background of the Tyne Bridge, etc. It's nice, but not to play football. It's absolutely ridiculous. So for me, it was a no. But like I say, I didn't get my chance to say anything last night, and obviously for obvious reasons. And Joe Willock for me, again, I don't think he showed up on Saturday at all. And I've seen people having a dig at Maxi again. And I've seen comments after the show again saying that, there goes Alex again, sticking up for Maxi. Look, for me, Maxi played a different role on Saturday because he was trying to create things. And this time, I think he should have been a bit more selfish because there was a couple of opportunities that I saw in the first half that he had ample chance to shoot, and he didn't. Now, you could say, is that Callum Wilson getting in his ear? Or is, he's very aware of Callum Wilson now, and he's got to try and play Callum in. And what I did notice about Callum Wilson was the amount of times that he bollocked Miggy, which I found a bit strange. And I've seen other comments and people mentioning that were a little concerned. The fact that Wilson was seemingly turning his anger to Miggy. I mean, what do you guys think of that? Billy, we'll start with you, but I just thought it was a little bit strange.
I don't think Wilson rates Miggy. I think it's plainly obvious from looking at the body language and the fact that Miggy didn't pass to him on 2 occasions when he was stood at the far post waiting to tap it in. Miggy went for goal. That Callum Wilson didn't like that and made it plainly obvious he didn't like it. And I think he also called out the wingers on an interview. I don't know if it was Saturday or not. Alex mentioned last night. I just don't think he rates Miggy. If I'm perfectly honest, I think that's where it all boils from. And Callum Wilson has no real right to be like that because he's a professional footballer in the same team, fighting for the same cause, and really shouldn't show that kind of dissent to a fellow teammate, to be honest.
I mean, the thing is, right, this may sound a bit weird, but apart from Callum Wilson's goal, right, that he scored against Forest, I haven't seen anything from him. Even in pre-season, I don't know what you guys think, but I think it's a bit harsh of him to sort of call Miggy out and things like that when his own game isn't really hitting high levels yet, And
I think he's very frustrated with the lack of service he's been getting.
But that's all got to come with time, surely. Miggy wasn't in the team a lot last season, and Wilson was injured a lot, so they haven't really had an opportunity, for a long time to sort of blend as a three, and It's frustrating when you see them having to go at each other so early on in the season, and it'll clearly knock Miggy's confidence because we know what he's like. He's a confidence player. Abs, thank you very much for your £10 super chat. No comment there, but I saw your comment before. Thank you very much. And PD Proudlock, thank you for your £10, matey. Much appreciated. Great to see you back, Paul, mate. Should have lost against Brighton, but so hilarious them lot and the green snot kid get stung by the bees on Saturday. Yeah, well, that certainly cheered me up, I have to tell you. Wow, did it. Hilarious. But look, there's things... It's very, very early days. We've played 2 games in the Premier League, and things just need to just settle down a little bit. We're not going to be at 100% every single game, but it does worry me that the squad depth's not there. It just isn't.
There's lots of things affecting the service to Callum Wilson. It's not just the wing players. It's the fact that Bruno's so far back up the pitch and not an attacking position to put balls in for him. And that's down to Shelby injury. So do we buy another 8 or do we buy a centre?
So would you have started Sean Longstaff instead of maybe Willock and push Bruno a bit further up?
I don't think Longstaff can play.
Or would you not trust Sean Longstaff in that position?
No,
not against Brighton.
No,
maybe against somebody, but not against Brighton. They would have destroyed him.
Or do we move? When Target's fit, do we move Burn into centre back alongside Botman and play Shah?
No. I've had a lot of messages, by the way, from people actually about putting Botman or Share or a variety of defenders as a CDM. My answer to all of you is absolutely not. I completely just no.
We used to have these arguments about Colaccini, didn't we? Put him in midfield, and the one occasion they did, he was absolutely awful.
Like, I used to be okay with that idea under Bruce. Yeah, fine, because we just didn't have anything else. Now, no, absolutely not. Not happening.
Yeah, absolutely. Fair enough. Right. First player is, there's a strange one. It's Joao Pedro.
I'm just going to divert your attention to this page because, sorry.
Okay.
Right, this is from match day 22 of last season until the final game. With 3rd in the form table.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of matches. That's 16 matches. 3rd in the form table. And we've played 2 so far this season. And one was a win and one was a draw. So that puts us at 40, if I can count, 39 points from 19 matches.
Palace 1, Liverpool 0.
Oh.
Wilfred Zaha.
At Anfield?
Yeah.
Very nice.
Ooh.
So, yeah, that doesn't lie. That doesn't lie. And the goals as well. We're 20, 26 for 18. Like, yeah, we need to improve. But our form over the last 18 matches is we're third in the league with Champions League form. We're absolutely fine. So even if this drops off considerably, we're still in the top 10. And we probably will still get 2 new signings. I think people are overreacting a tiny bit. Like, Brighton are massively underrating Brighton as well. Anyway, Joao Pedro, let's have a look at what the deal is. So, still 20 years old, not even 21, which is why they're being annoying about it, because he's going to be worth a lot more in the future. 6 foot, just shy of 6 foot, 11 stone. And he still is extremely, extremely young. So, this is not too shabby at all. Not too shabby at all. He's played in a very poor Watford side who had very little possession. He had very little behind him, in all honesty. He had to drop deep to do things. And this is very interesting. And when you look at how much he gets in terms of progressive carries and progressive passes, and he did play up front a lot, but he's versatile. He can play sort of with a partner. He can play out wide. He's good in the channels. He's very good at his dribbles. As you can see, a 98th percentile for dribbles completed as a forward. He's very technical. He's very dribbly, but he's also very, very strong. He wins a lot of his aerial duels as well. You can see down here, he wins quite a lot. Very, very useful defensively. Eddie Howe loves this kind of striker. You can see the kind of profile striker we're going for now. Linked with Ramos, linked with Joao Pedro, Ekitike, Bamba Dieng. They're all between 19 and 22. And they've all got a certain profile. They've all got shots. They can all dribble a bit. They've all got good defensive contributions. This is the profile he's going for. Still, 2.57 shots per 90 is very, very tidy. Considering the team he was playing in, let's remember who he was playing for. Shot creating actions is very, very healthy as well. And his non-penalty XG was actually pretty good, to be fair. It says it's bad, but for his age and for the team he was playing in, I don't think it's too bad. I think 1 goal every 4 games in a Watford team when he was like 19 last season, that's not that bad. 1 goal every 4 games for a 19-year-old in a Watford side in the Prem.
Alex, can you zoom in a little bit? Because people are having trouble seeing it, the actual...
I can. We can zoom in on the little stats
so
we can see those. So important parts to his game: progressive passes and carries. He's very good at getting the ball up the pitch. Very, very good with his defensive contributions. His pressures is a really important thing here. We don't like it when Chris Wood comes on and pretends to press. This guy actually presses. Good shot volume. Helps create shots for other teammates as well. For somebody so young who has dropped out of the league, very, very impressive. And if we scroll down and just give him the benefit of the doubt here, I understand that they got relegated, but look at his age profile. Like he got Watford out of the Championship. He helped them. He played 2,700 minutes when they got promoted out of the Championship and got 11 goal contributions. So that's, Maxi got 10 in 2,800. So similar, but albeit it is in the Championship. It's still the same amount of minutes. And then up to the Premier League, didn't play as much because he's still very young. They tried, they had other strikers. They had Denny and Joshua King and stuff up front. So 15 starts, managed 4 goal contributions, 3 in 1. Not incredible. And then he started all 3 games back in the Championship. And we can actually go and have a look at those and see how he's getting on. I will zoom in, don't worry. If my SofaScore wants to load. It's not playing ball at the moment, SofaScore. It's being very slow with me. Right, so they started off against Sheffield, and he scored in game 1. They played in a 3-4-3 with a bit of a sort of a winger system, and he was right at the top. Let's just click on him and get our stats up. There he is. So heat map, as you can see, he plays as a striker, but he's very happy supporting in the channels as well. He does a lot more. He's very, very dribbly. 4 successful dribbles, 8 attempted. This is kind of more than Maxi does. So he's very, very confident. 2 shots on target. He got the goal. Very, very good with his duels as well. 6 out of 11 for the young lad. Putting himself about. And then, so the West Brom game, this was the funny one that everybody remembers because obviously Sarr scored the halfway line goal, which was really funny against Steve Bruce. So different system here. They tried a 3-4-3 with him slightly deeper Still played very well. If I can bring him up here. So, defensive contributions, his heat map is down kind of where Joe Linton has to do a lot of dirty work sometimes for us. So he was contributing defensively, played the full 90 minutes, 1 shot off target, 4 successful dribbles again is very tidy. 64 touches is a lot for a striker. 4 out of 7 aerials, 7 out of 10 duels. He's so involved physically in this game for such a young lad as well. Fouled a couple of times. He contributed with 5 clearances as a young striker. He's just 2 interceptions and a tackle as well. That's his pressing output. He's just, I think he's brilliant. I think his goal, his output is there in a better team because his shot volume's there. He's just in. I know everybody likes a lot of the Watford players, but apart from the ones that people mention, their midfield is pretty poor, and their defense as well. Their control of the game and service is not incredible. And then he played. They tried a 4-2-3-1 in the last one. They did manage to win despite losing a man late on. He played 80 minutes, only got the 2 dribbles, on 5 out of 5 aerial duels as well. So he's really not. You know, we remember when he scored against us when he beat Jamal Lascelles in the air. He's not shy in the air either. So he's
but go back over the sentence you've just said there, Alex.
Very true. Yeah, but that's supposed to be something that Jamal Lascelles is best at. Is his?
Let's face it. He was beaten in the air by Hunter Slag and Mackham Shagger or whatever his name was for if we look back to the preseason as well.
Let me scroll up to his stats for you.
I mean, he gave all the centre halves and defenders all sorts of trouble, didn't he, in the game against us? Even Trippier was kind of taken in by a few times. So yeah, he had he was probably the best player on the pitch actually against us, wasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, so in conclusion for this guy, I understand his output's low, but I don't think that's too much of a problem. I think his output will improve. I think he's just in a very poor team with not enough service. I think he's got every attribute you would want is there. I think he's a good player. I think he's much better than Chris Wood. He's moldable. He's got all the physical and technical attributes that Eddie Howe and the coaching staff really like. I think it'd be a great signing, especially if they've gone in with a 17 million bid, then they might accept maybe a bit higher than that. And I think it's a good signing. I would like it.
Okay. David Stanton, welcome to the Members Club. Thank you for becoming a member of the channel. Welcome to the family. And it was, in fact, Toon Dave with a £6.10 super chat. Glad you're back, Paul. Get yourself some Mars bars in just in case. Love to Susan and the kids for knowing what to do. Thank you, mate. Alvin says something is to break this week. Decide who we want, then go get him. Simple as that. Key 88 says top players cost top dollar. It's becoming frustrating. Hopefully we can get some in. Gary says the offers feel like Ashley deals they're offering, but it's nowhere near going to be enough. Wayne, thank you very much. Dominic says, so Dan Ashworth has brought in youth for the future, which is great, and a relegated goalkeeper. Well, that's a little bit harsh, Dominic, to be honest. It wasn't Nick Pope's fault that they were relegated, I'm afraid. Slightly breaking news, Alex.
Portuguese national media, TVs, outlets are all reporting that we're going to go back in for Ramos from Benfica again with the 40 million euro bid. And that's all their versions of Sky Sports and CNN and all of that kind of thing. So think of that what you will. I mean, it's interesting that we've officially had a bid turned down for Joao Pedro today, according to Keith Downey. So we seem to have many balls in the air all at the same time.
There's quite a few in the air by the looks of things, but if there's we've always said if there's more than one media outlet going for them. So listen, I think Ramos would be a brilliant sign to me. I think he's an absolute tank. I think the Benfica manager would quite clearly sell him. He's already stated that, I think, in quite vocally in public, that he's trying to get his own men in and things like that. So listen, it could happen. It's certainly nice to see us going for these players, Billy. And actually, I think it just proves that maybe the management are aware that we need reinforcements.
And they can't fail to. I mean, like we said earlier, Brighton brought on 3 subs the other day, which kind of changed the game. We brought on 3 subs to try and hang on. And quality-wise, they were in the same league as Brighton substitutions. The young Japanese winger came on and gave Kieran Trippier all sorts of problems down the left-hand side. And so we need more depth, and we definitely need back up to a striker that generally gets himself injured. Whether it's a first choice or as a second choice, but I think Ramos is one for the future as well as one for now. So, yeah, let's connect to sign him. On
Kieran Trippier, I still don't think he's firing all cylinders. I think he's a little bit still on the slow side. I don't know what you guys think. He gave the ball away a few times again against Brighton. I mean, Billy, I watched the show last night, and you're still convinced that Kraft is the better defender, and but Trippier is an all-round better footballer. I just think there's something just not right with him.
I think his legs are going, if I'm perfectly honest. I think at 32-year-old, 32-year-old fullback, there's every chance he's going to be a yard slower than what he was when he was 28, 27. He's still a fantastic footballer, mind. Yeah. But defensively, which is what he's in the side for, I feel more safe with Kraft. But as a leader and as an actual footballer, and you've got to remember that Brighton put us under a lot of pressure on Saturday, and that's probably why his passes did go kind of right at times. But most of the time, they didn't go right. Most of the time, he manages to find himself some time. So he's still a fantastic footballer. I just think his legs are slightly not as quick as he used to be.
Alex?
I don't want to believe it. I think it's very fair. It's a very, very fair suggestion from Billy. I'm praying that he's not right. I think he might be. I just hope he's not. I hope that maybe he's having a bit of a wobble. Not a bit of a wobble. I think maybe he needs a few games to bed in, and he might hopefully pick it up. Fingers crossed. I hope Billy's not right.
Well, yeah, because
so do I, to be honest.
All the euphoria of signing him last season kind of goes out the window. There is a few comments in the chat about the Joao Pedro that he's a wrong'un. I don't know whether you guys. I'm not sort of going into detail because I don't know anything about it.
Or...
No,
I saw a comment that it was a bit.
Wow. I don't know anything about his
bracket. And I don't know because I don't know much about him. But apparently in Brazil, I don't know.
I've got no idea. Can't comment.
There's more than one person commented on it, so I don't know what the situation is with that. I mean, I find it strange that if he is, he's still at a football club, to be honest. So I don't understand that.
Very strange.
Could it just be somebody else with the same name?
There is another Joao Pedro, but
yeah, there is. Well, I know three. So. One of them's Portuguese as well, to be fair. But,
you've got to take the R out of his surname, though, haven't you?
Oh, Billy. Jesus. Tiger says, get Pulisic, Ramos and Gallagher, and then we will all shut up. If it was only as easy as that. Dennis left for 20 million and he scored 10, says Simon. Jean says, also, it's nice we're playing City this week, so a hard one out of the way.
I think the game against Brighton will help us against City. I really do. I think it stands in good stead. I really do.
Yeah. Tangy says, Brereton Diaz is better than value than Pedro.
Yeah, somebody asked near the start of the show, had we spoken about him? He was linked in January briefly, and Paul was very interested in him as well. He was a very good player, but I think he got injured, and then he fell off the radar. So I'm not sure we were linked with him. If we're linked with him, we'll talk about him again. But yeah, he seems decent.
AJ says, hi, Paul, Alex, and Billy. We have to remember no one promised us a top 6 squad. It's a slow rebuild. Patience is everything during this new era. John says, we paid £20 million for Jacob Murphy years ago, for context.
Mm-hmm.
Keith says, are we not looking at a few Chelsea players? Yes. Carl Freeburn, thanks for your £6.10 super chat. I hope you're feeling better, Paul. And I hope Statos Tech is better tonight than last night.
Yeah, my mic kept disconnecting. I don't know why.
Yeah, I noticed that. Pedro Stoko says, Paul, what you're going to say about the bench is so right. Yeah, well, I think it's not a question of being right. I think it's fact that every Newcastle fan will say that we just don't have a strong enough bench at the minute. And that's the little bit of if the window was to close now with what we've got, that would be the disappointing side for me, that we haven't got that depth, that we clearly need, that other teams maybe have, that we don't. Because it's clear that when we make a substitution, the sting is taken out. It happened against Forest. We made those changes against Forest, and the sting was taken out of the performance. We don't, because we haven't got the same quality on the pitch. Julie says, me, Dad, and Amanda were at the Chelsea game, supposedly there for a meeting. Anything in that, guys, do you think?
I believe so.
Yeah, I do.
You do?
They're not just going to go down for it. They're not going to, in a match day weekend, the day after we've played, they're not just going to randomly go down to London for a day out, like a couple of weeks before our business is about to conclude. Not these kinds of high functioning, hyper successful business people. They won't just go, I will just take Sunday off and bugger off to London. They were there for business. I'm 90% sure of it. I would be very surprised if they were there just because they accepted an invitation and wanted a day out. Like, those are not the kinds of people they are. They are extremely high functioning people who, when they go somewhere, it's for a purpose. And they, they're not on their holidays at the moment. It was still in the back end of the transfer window. So
Pedro's amazed at how Murphy actually gets on the pitch. Look, it is what it is. That's who we've got at the minute. That's the depth that we have, and that's why I'm saying it's worrying me, because it's clear Jacob Murphy's not going to make. He's where he is now. He's not going to get any better. I mean, how old is Jacob Murphy now?
28, 27, 28, something like that.
27, nearly 28.
I mean, you saw that a wide player not getting in on to the far post for a cross that Callum Wilson put in.
He should be.
I mean, what a ball that was! By the way,
standing there watching, he was literally standing 10 yards away watching. Made no effort.
What a ball that was! If that was one opportunity that we needed to put the ball in the back of the net, but there was nobody there, and that's really, really frustrating. Nobody read the ball. Nobody reads the game when we bring on these players that aren't good enough. I'm just thinking maybe give Anderson a shot. Put Anderson on instead of Murphy for once. Just
I
give
think
him
Anderson
a
would have made the run, at least. I think he would have made the run.
Yeah, I do as well.
I think he'd have been intelligent enough to go for the. Yeah, you got to gamble in that situation.
I mean, one thing Elliot Anderson is, right? He's got a good footballing brain. And even, Joey Barton said that when he was on loan at Rovers last season. So he's got a fantastic footballing brain about him. Cameron, I don't know what the hell you're on. Elliot Anderson is not good enough. I mean, what makes you think he's not good enough? Where have you seen enough of him to say that he's not good enough? Because, quite frankly, what we've seen from him, he is going to be good enough.
Cameron's made a few of the dodgy comments.
Strange comment. Stephen says, Paul, can't beat a fantastic woman. Mine is my best friend and wife. Best wishes to Susan. Thanks, mate. She's everything for me. Best friend, partner, rock, everything. And all we do is laugh together, apart from Friday night, which was a little bit scary. But, yeah, it's what you have to do. You laugh. Definitely need a plan B, as all we have is plan A. Maxi to Wilson. Bruno is playing deeper than last season, so we've lost his forward surges. Yeah, that's the problem, that we've lost Shelvey, and he's having to play that more defensive role, and that's where we're missing out a little bit. But it was frustrating when that ball came in from Callum Wilson. I was, I'm thinking, wow, somebody just make a bloody run, and it's a tap in. It's a simple tap in. Especially
you can see Jacob Murphy kind of 10 yards away, not quite in the area, but 10 yards away from it. Gamble on it. Fresh. Go for it. And he was fresh. Then just come on, standing there looking like a spare at a wedding.
This is 2 weeks on the trot that both Fraser and Murphy have come on fresh and bottled it in certain situations, whether it was a foot race, a one-on-one, getting into the 6-yard box. Fair enough, they only had a few minutes between them, but if you're going to get on the pitch, you got to try.
Well, that's it, isn't it? I mean, you've got to make use of that time that you get put on the pitch. You can't just, you put on for 20 minutes or 15 minutes or whatever it is. Make use of it. Try and put some effort in. Don't just dawdle about and sort of look like you're reacting, but you're not. You're kind of just giving up very, very easily.
Yeah.
And
no desire,
you know,
no desire, no ambition.
If they came on and did something useful, they might get a start.
Exactly. I think he's comfortable in his role on the bench. I'll be honest. I think he's just comfortable sitting on the bench, Jacob Murphy. I think he needs to move away from the club, but I think he's got too long a contract for us to sell him for the price that we'd want for him.
Yeah, he got a new one the same time Dwight Gale did. I think he's contracted to like 2026 or something. Murphy is. He's got a very long contract.
Well, the thing is, it must be frustrating for Eddie Howe as well, because he hasn't got the options on the bench, right? Apart from Elliot Anderson. But is he just holding Anderson back a little bit because of his age and he hasn't had that many Premier League games under his belt? And is he worried about putting him on and exposing him? But at the same time, where's he going to get the Premier League experience if he doesn't get on the pitch? There's a flip side to it. You know, sometime, Alex, he's got to take that chance and put him on. And stop going for the same guys all the time, because the same guys aren't doing it.
No, he won't. He'll put him on when it's appropriate and safe to do so. The same he did integrating Bruno, the same he's tried to do carefully integrating Botman, albeit his hand was forced slightly. But
yeah, but Botman just didn't look out of place at all. I mean, he was
outrageous. He was brilliant.
He just, him and Cher just looked. I mean, Cher, bless him, he puts his head in where it hurts again. You know, another kick in the head, elbow to the head, whatever it may be. I mean, that guy, God Almighty, but. They just look
I don't think Anderson comes on until we're beating somebody 2 or 3-0. I just don't think he will.
I do agree with you, Alex. That's what I mean. But at some point, you know, we have to say, right, you know, if he's on the bench, play him. Give him an opportunity.
I'm with Paul. He knows well. It's virtually certain.
It's pointless putting... He's not going to get the Premier League experience. You know, there's not going to be a lot of games where we're, 3-0 up and cruising.
I agree. I just think it's what Eddie Howe's going to do, because I agree shown us so far.
I don't think it's the right thing to do. Go on, Billy.
I think he should gamble. I think he knows he's not going to get anything out of Murphy or Fraser. We might get something out of. We've got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
True.
Interesting. Anyway, next one up is Christian Pulisic, who, by the way, I would love to see in a Newcastle strip. I've been a big fan of his for a long, long time now. And the fact that, this guy, right, he seems to have been around since the dawn of time, and he's only 23 years old. I mean, people will think Pulisic is probably about 28, 29. He's been around that long, but he's not. He's 23. And he's a hell of a footballer.
So, 24 in 5 days, and he's been around for years. He's played a lot. He's played a lot for his country. He played, he's got good experience in the Bundesliga, good Premier League experience, lots of Champions League experience. I mean, he's lifted the Champions League trophy. We looked at him recently, but we're going to look at him again because there is, there's a lot of Chelsea talk going on. And he would be an incredible signing. He's somebody that is about to, peak age sort of 20, 26, 27. We could get his best years in theory. Yeah. He seems to have stopped all of his silly little injuries. He's playing a lot more football. He's available. He's hungry. And if we scroll down and have a look at his nice statistics. So doesn't look as crazy when you look at him but sort of as an attacking midfielder / winger, but it is exceptional compared to some of our lads' output. So we talked about fitting the Eddie Howe profile. Nearly 20 pressures per 90. Very, very tidy. Defensive contributions are there. Doesn't always put in the most tackles or interceptions, but you've got to remember Chelsea are a very dominant team in their own right. So for this to be that high in his position is quite impressive anyway, because Chelsea have always got the ball most of the time. Receives the ball very high up the pitch. Which is good. We need people. We need that ball to stick sometimes. Especially with the distribution improving with Botman and Cher and Nick Pope. Botman and Nick Pope are two people. That's a huge upgrade in service because Burn is great, but Botman is much better at distribution. Let's be honest, as a centre back, and Nick Pope is also far better than Dubravka at distributing the ball. So having somebody like this that receives the ball 8.34 times up the pitch is very, very tidy. He's not afraid of receiving the ball and then progressive carries, turning and running. His pass completion is very tidy because he's used to playing in a dominant team that have lots of the ball, so he's safe with the ball. Shots total isn't amazing, but that could be symptomatic of, Lukaku experiment, Havertz, false nine. They had a lot of funny stuff going on up top. So some of it you've got to take with a pinch of salt. Chelsea had, I'm in an hour in about their system until kind of about now, really. With now they've got Sterling and they've kind of settled on what they're trying to do. But still, the output's mental. A non-penalty XG at 0.33, so he took some penalties, but no, he didn't take some penalties. Sorry. But non-penalty XG is very, very high, and his non-penalty goals is very high as well. He'd just bring a lot more to the team. And if we scroll down and have a look at his life, so
zoom in.
Is that not? That's as far as it'll let me zoom in.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So he was. Let's scroll back across. So a few seasons at Dortmund. Obviously, he was at Dortmund from 16, which is very, very young. And then went to Chelsea at 20. So he's got good pedigree, good few seasons in the Bundesliga.
That's what I mean. But look at the matches he's played when he was 17 and 18. He's playing almost full seasons. It's incredible.
And look where he's used to finishing as well. Yeah. Second, third, fourth, second, fourth, third. He's never finished outside a Champions League place in his career. That's the kind of standard he's used to, and that's the kind of level he's at and the teams he plays for. His contributions are also pretty tidy. We looked at this before, at the fact that he got 13 goal contributions from only 1,700 minutes, which is pretty filthy. That's a lot. That's a very low amount of minutes, to be fair, to be getting that. That's very impressive. You can see here, goals per 90. It was one every other game nearly. That's just goals. That's not even including assists. And he's just fairly clinical for the minutes he plays. But some people say he doesn't score enough. Well, he doesn't play enough, to be fair to him. If you just look at the goal total for the end of the season, that doesn't show you much. You've got to actually look at how much he played, which wasn't a lot. 1,700 minutes, and then barely 1,300. So he's not played a lot, and he's still getting a lot of 8 goal contributions there, 6 there. He will do what we're missing. He will give us that extra thing. He's about to go into peak age. He fits a lot of our, he ticks boxes in terms of branding, commercial growth. It'd bring in a new audience, it'd bring in new revenue streams, but he would also be able to walk the walk on the pitch. Whether it's a loan or a transfer fee, I would want to buy him, to be fair. I wouldn't really want to loan him. I would want him on our books. We don't want people saying, when he goes back to Chelsea.
I do. Yeah. I think he'd be awesome. Zishan, thank you for your $8.99 super chat. He says, I 100% agree with Billy. Trippier's legs are going. I'd also like to wish Carlos a speedy recovery, but there's a famous Villa song in the Midlands, which Billy will know about, something to do with shite. Okay.
A lovely old hymn, that one.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. Darren says, imagine if our deadline day striker signing was a loan deal for Ekitike.
That would be hilarious.
My God. Yeah. Colin says, I couldn't see properly when I watched it with the kit they wore, but the dark blue one would have been better. Why didn't we just wear the Saudi kit?
Back of the Brighton kit's virtually white, isn't it? So
yeah. I think it's a lot of shite, to be honest.
We should have planned at the beginning of the season for those games, like I said on the TTR Friday.
Yeah,
should have been planned way before this.
Yeah, absolutely. Rochi says, does anyone think they just didn't want us to wear the third kit? There's been a few conspiracy theories about that over the weekend.
And that's what they are. We'll be contractually obliged to wear that white kit on at least 3 or 4 occasions.
At some point. Yeah, definitely. Tiger says no one showed up apart from Nick Pope. I think the centre-backs did all right. Joe Linton, does he need to calm it down a little bit? Or are we loving what we're seeing from him?
Now, they tried to rugby tackle him.
Well, they did. Listen, I love it. I've already stated I love his his raw beat attitude.
Well, Trippier had a word. He calmed it down and he didn't get another yellow. So it was all good. It was all dandy.
See, that's where Trippier's experience and captaincy comes in. Just to walk him away like that, because just calmed him down, diffused the situation, and then, yes, get yellow cards and get on with the game. Cameron says Joe Willock was excellent against Brighton.
I thought I thought out of our midfield three, I thought it was like the best one of the three. I thought, I'll be honest.
What did you think was wrong, Paul, about Willock? Because I'm interested.
I just didn't like his performance. I just didn't like the way he played. I think he was poor at times on the ball. I think
he's always poor. He's always poor at times during matches.
Yeah,
on
but
the ball. That's the nature of his game.
What you've mentioned over the certainly in pre-season and now.
Have I accidentally slowly turned you off Joe Willock? Have I with the?
No, I'm watching him more carefully, to be honest. And when we're defending, he doesn't get his arse back as quick as everybody else does. He's just lazy.
I mean, I mentioned in the review show he did a bit more against Brighton, but yeah, he still needs to improve. But I've said this for 6 months, maybe more, that Willock needs to be an understudy to somebody better than him in that role. I think there needs to be a very talented 8, and then Willock needs to be the understudy to that. I don't think Willock is ready to be that for where we're going. I think he's a great player, and he could become. Imagine Willock has 3 amazing learning seasons, and then at 26 we see a beast Joe Willock. Like, it's very possible this can happen. So, but he just needs somebody better than him to help him. And I don't think he's ready to be a star man yet.
He was the only one of the midfield 3 that managed to get to grips with Caicedo at certain stages.
Yeah, that's very true. Caicedo was a menace, absolute menace.
John says, got in late, so just tune in. Good to have you back, Paul. Speedy recovery. Wilson goal at the weekend should have stood. Never dangerous play. I mean, I didn't see where or how that was dangerous play, because when you look at the stills of the situation, his foot was nowhere near the Brighton player's head. It was just shocking.
The referee had no right to make an opinionated whistle on that. He had no right to. He should have let it go.
Guessed because he couldn't see.
Yeah.
Francisco says Callum's attitude has been horrible. This is supposed to be a team, and his negativity could be harmful in the long run. I wouldn't go overboard with it, to be honest. I think it's just mainly frustration with Callum, because we saw this a couple of years ago, under the previous manager, especially if we look back to that Sheffield United game when he was booting the ball into the stands because he was so fed up of everything. He's got to keep a lid on it, but at the same time, is that kind of frustration? Does that give him the spark and the fire to go and do something, even if it's just one touch like he did against Forest?
100%. The lad's got heart and desire. That's what you want from your centre forward. He's just a forlorn figure because he's not getting the service that he requires. But even on Saturday, he put himself about. He didn't give Duncan and Webster and Valtman any time on the ball whatsoever. He chased every one of them, got into a few scrapes with Duncan. Yeah, he gave him as good as he got. It just didn't get the service in front of goal that he wanted. Yeah.
Colin says, is it true there was a little bit of a bust-up in the tunnel between a couple of our players? Heard Tripp split it up. I haven't heard anything about that.
That from any of the source.
No source at all. Right, guys. Over 900 watching tonight. Thank you so much, as usual. Very, very well. It's great. It's great to see so many people enjoying what we're bringing you. And so if you are enjoying the show, please do hit that like button. And if you're new to the channel and you like what you see, hit that subscribe button, which is free to do so. And of course, the notification bell, which will let you know when we upload or we go live. If you'd like to donate to the channel, like so many amazing people have already done tonight, hit that $sign at the bottom of the live comments and it'll take you through that way. And you can get Toon Review merch. More is coming very, very soon. But at the moment, this is where you can go and get it.
So let's get down to business. I've been waiting, think I wanna make that move now. Baby, tell me if you like it. Tell me if you like it now. I've been waiting, think I'm gonna make that move now. Baby, tell me how you like it. Let's get down to business.
So there you go, guys. The toonreview.co.uk is where you can go and get your merch. As I say, more is coming very, very soon. Graham says, why are you always defending Maxi? Have a word, lad.
All right. I ignored it from earlier on in the show. I ignored it, but no, I'm not having that. everybody, I gave him a 5 for his second half performance. And if anybody thinks that those 5 drag backs weren't instructed, you're deluded. Absolutely deluded. Ridiculous. He never does that. Maxi never does those drag backs. Never mind 5 of them. It was clearly an instruction. Obviously, it was an instruction. And then we lost complete control of the game in the second half, and we didn't have possession. Therefore, he didn't really do anything. I mean, he could have linked up a little bit, but yeah, I gave him a 5 in the second half because he wasn't good enough. I don't understand how giving him a 5 is
on the subject. This is Toon Short says, I don't think Maxi has the footballing brain to see a pass for an assist. Exciting with his dribbling, but that's it. All the skill, but no end product. Almiron just not good enough.
Well, obviously, his 5 assists last year didn't count then, but that's fine.
Alvin says, let's say we get Ramos. Does he displace Callum?
No,
well, the problem is if Callum goes out of form, Billy, Callum doesn't start. Shoot. I mean, you've got to play the guy that's in form.
I agree, but I imagine he'll have a bedding in period like the other players that we brought in from abroad have. I don't think he'll come straight in, but there'll be times when Wilson's rested and he'll play, absolutely. 100%.
Yep, definitely. Right, Alex, next player, and, well, it's another Chelsea player, Conor Gallagher.
And breathe. Okay, right. Big shout out to FBRF, by the way, who have obviously partnered with Capology and started putting wages.
Yes.
Yay! Which is really, really useful.
What does that mean, though, when it's where it's 32k weekly and an X next to it? Unverified.
Yeah, so it's based on websites, listings, paper talk. Yeah. It's based on everything. It's their most accurate guess as to what the wages are. And it's going to be right, I would say, more than 9 times out of 10, to be fair. There's no reason why it would be wrong. He's a youth player who's broken into the team. This is probably fair for a sort of a Chelsea player of his age. So, yeah, 22 years old. Obviously, everybody sort of knows him from his breakout season. I need to stop reading Max comments in the screen while I'm talking. 22 and a bit years old. Where was my thread? Let me find it. Crystal Palace. Everybody knows him from last season at Crystal Palace. Played very, very well for Crystal Palace. We'll have a look at the Crystal Palace thing first. Let's scroll all the way down and have a look at this nice little loan spell at Crystal Palace, where he made 33 starts, so was extremely involved, played similar amounts of minutes to Maxi, and got 12 goal contributions, which was only 2 more. So, yeah. 8 goals, 3 assists. Very, very good for a 22-year-old in midfield. So a lot of energy, a lot of pace was very important to the way that Palace played. If we do go down, he was even in 1 goal every 4 games from midfield, which is very, very useful. And then if we go back up, we can see his nice little stats. So stands very high up as a midfielder. Lots of touches in the attacking penalty area and receiving lots of passes high up as a midfielder. So he was, always very high. Completed a lot of dribbles for his position. Again, he reminds me of, he does remind me a lot of how Barkley used to play when he broke through.
Yeah.
When he was younger, he picks up the ball, head up, drives, very aggressive. He's got that sort of elk about him. And very, very tidy up here in the bit where it counts. This is where you make your money. Shot creating actions, shots are reasonable. And again, contributions are very, very good from midfield. Getting that sort of goal contribution from midfield would be incredible. We were very impressed with the healthy return Bruno got. Imagine if we had somebody else in midfield who banged in more than 10, like on top of what we've got. That would help. That would help us push on considerably. Younger and can play this pressing system, so this is an extremely important thing to note. That's very, very good. So he's already doing, like Eddie Howe's had to try and instill this in Joe Linton and Willock and Longstaff. Conor Gallagher already does it. He's already at nearly 25 pressures per 90 in midfield. So he's pre-built for an Eddie Howe team, in my opinion. I think he could come in and play in the Joe Willock role, and he would be better than Joe Willock, in my opinion. I think he just is. I think Joe Willock is a good player and can become pretty decent, but I think Conor Gallagher is has a lot more quality right now. He's just a better footballer. It's really interesting to see his stat matches with Joe Linton on there as a 6, sort of picking the ball up and just driving and being a beast. and Willock as well. So that kind of supports my claim that he could play in a high 8, because he's matched with a lot of high 8s here. We've got Lehmer, who's a pressing monster in Germany, and Jurkowski as well is very, very tidy in Serie A. So yeah, I don't know whether we would get him. It depends, kind of. Obviously, so just for the loan, to clear the loan situation out for people, we can't loan 2 players from the same club. So there would be no way we could get 2 of these Chelsea lads. Obviously, we're also linked with Hudson-Odoi, and there's a few other scraps floating around. We couldn't get 2 on loan. We could get 1 on loan, and we could buy 1. That is how we could do it if we wanted more than 1. We can have 2 loans in total, but they've got to be from different clubs. So that's how it works. So whether we want 1 or both or some, we do know that obviously Merdan and Amanda were down there. So I would really like Conor Gallagher. I would also really like Pulisic. I think that's our 2. I think if we want to, I think that's it. That sorts it out. 1 on loan and buy 1.
The only doubt about Conor Gallagher for me is the way Tuchel was talking about him at the end of last season, saying that he was looking forward to him coming back from Palace and he was going to play a big part in his plans for Chelsea this season. So far, I don't think he didn't. Did he start last week? I don't think he did. He came on yesterday.
Nearly got Mount a goal.
Yeah.
But Chelsea are just hoarding attackers, and they've got and Mount is ahead of Gallagher. Let's be honest. He's 21 goal contributions. They've just signed Sterling. Like Ziyech isn't play. They've got so many attackers. They're basically like our version of PSG. They've just got everybody that exists who can play in an attacking role. There's just not enough room for him. He's really good, but Chelsea are trying to win the league and compete in the Champions League. Like Chelsea are trying to hang on to the coattails of Liverpool and City. That's their goal, is to try and stay with them as long as possible if they can, and go deep in the Champions League. And is Conor Gallagher ready for that? Maybe, but it's not a safe bet. So. I
think it'd be quality signing, absolutely quality signing.
Definitely.
Yeah, Tripler says, can we stop bashing Wood? He was bought to cripple another club and give us a better chance of stopping up, which we did. Time to move on.
Well, all right, I'm wrong.
Move on.
Max is terrible. Chris Wood's amazing. I'm wrong. I've been wrong. With this
I'm sorry, Tripler, but you've had a Castoria, mate. Right? You simply have, because it's not time to move on, because he's still at the football club and he is our only other striker should anything happen to Callum Wilson. And should anything happen to Wilson, Chris Wood will come in and we have a 0 chance of getting many goals because he's absolute garbage. He's not good enough. He's a terrible striker, right? He may have been good for Burnley, fair enough. He's not for us. And you can't keep saying, stop bashing him, because if he plays poorly, then he deserves to be called out. And I'm sorry, but his performances have been awful, absolutely awful. So I am not going to stop, having to go at Chris Wood if he has a poor game. If he scores a hat-trick and he's brilliant, I'll come out and say that. But can you realistically see, if anything, God forbid, happened to Callum Wilson, we don't bring anybody else in? Can you realistically say that you hang your hat on Chris Wood to get us the goals that we need? Absolutely not. And if you have, and you can see Chris Wood, please tell me how and what you've seen since he's come to Newcastle, because I must be blinkered.
I have one last point about Gallagher I forgot to mention. We had 23 shots against Forest and scored 2. Really annoying. The one really good thing about Gallagher is at Palace last season, every 2.5 shots on target was a goal. So he's when he shoots, when he gets it on target, he's got he's pretty clinical. He's pretty accurate. And I'm really bored of watching us constantly pepper the goal and just not score. It is frustrating.
Billy, you doing your impression of Mr. Ed there?
Yeah, Darwin Núñez has been sent off.
Oh,
and he happens to be in my team.
Oh, he's not in mine.
Oh God, he's not in mine, is he? I'm gonna have to check. I'm sorry, but I'm not having this. Like, I can't remember if he's in my side.
I had Gabriel Jesus instead, and he scored 2.
Oh God, please no.
I mean, Anderson's
no, he's not.
Played him like a violin here. He pushed him in the back. And, he's headbutted him. Yeah, he's a red card all day long.
Oh, bloody hell.
No, I've got Haaland, Mitrovic, and Jesus as my forwards.
Oh, well done.
Yeah, but
I think Mitrovic got -1. I'm pretty sure the weekend.
Yes, he did. Thank you, Alex.
He's not getting -5.
And I forgot to put Haaland in my team. But let's face it, Friday was a bit of a dodgy time for me. So, even though what happened on Friday night was way after the cut-off point, so I'm just trying to use that as an excuse, which I've failed miserably at. Never mind. Mark says Fabrizio Romano is saying Newcastle are pushing to sign Joao Pedro. A new bid is coming soon.
Did he say new bid?
New bid coming soon, yeah.
Okay.
Dave says, good to have you back, Paul. The three of yous on the show together is what makes it. Best Newcastle channel for the fans by a mile. Look what Ashworth done at Brighton. Whatever it is, for 4.5 million. Have faith. Thank you, mate. And of course, there's also Danielle, who is sort of very, very busy at the start of each week, which is why she doesn't come on the early week shows. And I would just like to say, I'm so proud of her for doing the Her Game too. I think it's magnificent. It's a real boost for Danielle as well. And I knew nothing about it, to be honest. I mean, she did put it in the chat, she said, but I didn't. I don't know. But you know what it is? It's absolutely fantastic, and I'm proud as punch of her. It's a big thing for that, especially the size of Newcastle, because this Her Game too is taking off, man. It really is. And to represent Newcastle United, it's huge. And it's a fantastic opportunity for Danielle, and I'm so proud of her. So well done, sis. You've done massively well there. Foxy says Watford paid 3.6 million for Pedro. We should be doing similar business with Brazilian clubs for the youth prospects.
I agree.
You have a Pedro update, Alex?
Yeah, just clarifying the Romano tweet for people who haven't seen it. A lot of people keep saying that we bid 17 million. Fabrizio Romano is under the impression that we bid 20 with 3 million add-ons, which would be 23 in theory.
So that still wasn't enough.
There's a bit of disparity between what that first bid was, whether it was 17, 20 up to 23. And his exact words are, new proposal expected soon, in inverted commas, after opening bid rejected.
What a goal. What a goal.
From
goal of the season. Number 23 for Liverpool. What's the other fella? Luis Diaz.
Yeah.
Absolute fantastic goal.
I'll watch that later. The thing about the coming soon is, when you put your fingers up like that, Alex.
He's written it in inverted commas. I'm not sure why he's done that. Thinking of,
I couldn't get it over the line. You know what I mean? It's oh God, hey, let's just wait and see. Michael James says, hi guys, new to this channel, loving what I see and how passionate all our fans and you guys are about Newcastle United. Thanks, mate. Ian Isaiah says we should also go for a backup for Trippier soon enough. He's getting old. Well, we've got one.
Yeah, perfect.
I'm quite happy for Emil Kraft to come in and play that role. Certainly the progression that he's made under Eddie Howe, I think it's great. It really is. Wes says he's fantastic, but think he may not be right since that injury. He'll come back good. Interesting.
That injury was 6 months ago.
Yeah.
That goal was disgusting.
Wasn't it just?
That was like Maxi versus Oxford in the cup, but he's just done it in the Prem. That's what Luis Diaz has just done, basically. That was filthy.
Yeah, Joe Linton did it against Morecambe. Magpie says rumours of the age of his then girlfriend when he joined Watford at 18 years. You see, it's all rumours and crap. If there was anything wrong, he wouldn't be playing for Watford. I can guarantee you now. He wouldn't be. Dan says, hi, everyone. Do you think Wilson is worried about getting injured with the World Cup looming? You're right, Paul. He looks off. Listen, we're 2 games in. I'm saying he looks a bit off. Let's see how it is 5-10 games into the season and see where we stand. I just think he's getting a little bit agitated a little bit too quickly, especially with Miggy. It's just something I noticed, and I noticed it against Forest as well. But you know what? Maybe they'll work it out in training, and that's the best place to do it. And and I'm sure Eddie Howe certainly wouldn't let it go any further. But from what we hear from the manager, Callum Wilson is one of this. He's got a leadership pack in there, and Callum Wilson is one of them. And I'm sure if anything was going on like that, then you'd expect Eddie Howe to stamp it out, or indeed, the leadership group sort it out. So, Roy says, Billy is right about Trippier. He's going to struggle against City. Howe needs to play 3 centre-backs with Trippier and Target on the flanks. I drop Willock. I don't think he's going to change formation, though, Billy.
No, I don't think he will. I think he'll see this as a chance to put us in the window. People set statement out to the rest of the league. I think he'll go with Man City from the off. But I think that's the best way to go. We might get hammered, but I think Eddie Howe's got more in his locker than what I've got. I think, honestly, he'll go at them from the start. I think it's when we check, like you say, when you bring a subs on, it's going to change. But if we can get ourselves a nice lead and hang on, you never know, do you? You never know.
Well, we know what Eddie's like. He's meticulous in his planning, isn't he? I mean, he'd be working from yesterday, on this game at the weekend. He really will. He'll be fired up.
Can I just give some, because everybody obviously hears me give stats. I've just looked at Alexander-Arnold for this game. They've played just over an hour, so only an hour, and he's got 5 key passes, 4 crosses, 9 long balls. He's touched the ball 96 times.
Get him signed.
He's still got half an hour left.
Yeah, get him signed.
Ridiculous. I've never seen a fullback do that. But he's not a fullback. He's just not. He's a midfielder who plays at right back. Let's be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. Emma says, I'm still waiting for news on Paqueta. Didn't someone say last week that he was actually 2 people said that he was due in for a medical on Friday? I'm sure. I don't know where that came from. But apparently he was in it. Now they look like Burks again. Unbelievable. Bruce says, hopefully Newcastle will be able to get some bargains, deals at the end of the transfer window, Paul Stato and Billy. NUFC Dave says, we will be all right. Need a bit more firepower, though. Rochi says, Paqueta is the new Bas Dost. Yes, we're going to be linked with him in every single window. Cheeky bid for Lamptey, says Dave. I think we've already said we'd love Lamptey at Newcastle. Certainly that would change the dynamic of the right-hand side without a shadow of a doubt. But I don't think that's going to happen.
No.
Foxy says, Joao Pedro at Fenerbahce, Brazilian-born Italian international, is a bit of a nightmare attitude-wise. Okay, well, that's fair enough. Good that he's not coming to us. Dan Ashworth's supposed to be talking to Leon about a certain player. Can I just say, this Dan Ashworth, by the way, that's kicking about on Twitter, it's not really him.
No, it's not.
I've seen so many Newcastle fans actually retweeting and believing every word he says on there. It's not him.
I think he's got parody somewhere in his bio or something, hasn't he?
Honestly, it's so funny, man. Farhad says, nice to see you back, Paul. I was worried. May you have good health, bro. Thank you, buddy. Really appreciate that. Paul says, love the show. Glad to see you're all okay. Chipper says, I think the problem with Trippier was him playing for England over the summer when he wasn't fit. Also playing him at left back wouldn't have helped. Yeah, that's a good point, actually. He wouldn't have been 100% fit for England, would he?
No, certainly not. But he's not looked 100% fit ever since he come back from an injury. But surely he would be by now.
Yeah.
Unless his legs are gone. I've noticed a few times before his injury that the Watford goal, for instance, everyone blamed the South for it. I think Trippier's got to hold his hands up as well because he could see the whole situation develop in front of him and did nothing about it.
Yeah.
For instance.
Yep. Oh, Chippers is advertising his websites again, guys. I don't know how many bots there must be on YouTube. It's incredible, really. Alan says, I moved back to the UK from the States only to discover via Specsavers that I have a brain tumor. We had to move back to the States, and now my wife supports me. Our partners rule. Wow. Absolutely. They do, Alan, and best of luck in getting back to health, mate. I was at Specsavers actually on Friday afternoon, ordering me new gigs. They're really clever. They're really good there, actually. And Alan, I'm pleased to found it, mate. And hopefully you can get back to health soon, bud. Just scraping through all these chippers advertisements.
James
sites.
Milner got an assist for that goal, by the way, for that Luis Diaz worldie. Like Luis Diaz beat like 4 players and absolutely smashed it, and somehow Milner gets an assist. That's why you can't always look at assists.
Yeah, it's the same in ice hockey, mate. Somebody might get the puck and go, off a defender, off a defenseman, and go straight down the ice all by himself, taking on the whole of the other team, score a goal. And the last 2 people that touch the puck get assists. It's crazy.
Nat Phillips has come on as well, or come off, and I'm pretty sure that Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher on one of the shows the other day, we were playing a little game, and they both went, "Oh no, you can't have Nat Phillips because he's left. He's not at Liverpool anymore. He's right there."
Well, it's very strange how
they don't even know who's Jamie Carragher. Doesn't even know he plays in the team.
He's gone off now and they brought Gomez on, which kind of begs the question: why was Nat Phillips starting and Joe Gomez wasn't? Because Nat Phillips couldn't lay Joe Gomez's boots, in my opinion.
Well, that's what Big Jurgen has paid the big bucks for. Wacky says it could have been just a business meeting. Remember, Amanda has brokered big deals for businesses, but hopefully it's to get a player or 2. Amanda lives on Park Lane in London, so close to go watch Chelsea against Spurs.
Do we think that's really it, though, at the timing? The timing it is right now.
Well, the thing is, I mean, aren't Amanda and me and Dad based up here now? I'm sure I read somewhere that they basically live up here now. I mean, yes, they'll still have the house in London or the 3 houses, whatever they have. But I'm sure they're basically putting everything into what they're doing here.
Yeah, I mean, it is possible that they were there for alternate reasons, but I think it's safe to say they were there for the club.
Absolutely. Steve Wraith said on his show that they live in London, Paul. Well, if they do, they do. I'm sure I read that. Listen, they might have their permanent address as London, but I don't think it's too much to say that they could afford a little property up here just for when they're up here. I'm sure they'd want their own house instead of hotels all the time, especially when they're spending so much time up here. We know in very posh Pontyland or somewhere like that, there's some rather nice houses. I think they could rent. Or they could buy and then just sell on. Who knows? Conrad says they are old friends rolling the dice. Amanda made a bet with Bowley. If you win, you can sell me 4 players. Well, that's not going to happen then. Anderson deserves a chance, definitely, even if it's only 25 minutes. Right, you've got some honourable mentions, Alex?
Yeah, just obviously we're looking at all the Chelsea lads. Hudson-Odoi as well. A lot of people seem to be against that, and I'm not quite sure why. I think he's better than every winger except Maxi that we've got. Arguably could be better than Maxi. He's still very young. He's 20, 21, 22. He's very, very young, very, very talented. Could play on the right wing, exactly where we need. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Obviously, we're linked with basically 3 or 4 players from Chelsea, so we don't really know which one we're really in for. Although the official bids seem to be Ramos, Joao Pedro at the moment, so Ramos gets the other honourable mention. Obviously, we had a bid rejected, and now Portuguese TV are all over it, saying that we're going to go back in again. So, but then Romano and Keith Downey are saying we're going to go back in for Joao Pedro. So, apparently, we're going in for both of them, or one or the other, or at least one of them, which is positive. We're going for at least one of them.
Well, Ryan, being a Canadian, is struggling a little bit with Pulisic, obviously, but you know what? He's North American, mate. Support him. Dave says maybe try Longstaff in the Shelby role to push Bruno forward into the Willock role. Bruno too good and our best creative player to be sitting back. Agree, Paul would love Pulisic. He would excite the fans. Yeah, the problem is I don't think we could trust Sean at that role, to be honest, and especially not against Man City. No, I suggested it as to see what the guys would say, but in reality,
he hasn't got the legs for starters. He hasn't got the legs, has he? Let's be honest.
Exactly. No. He could play in that role against some teams in the Premier League, but not Brighton or Man City. Absolutely not.
Yeah. Anyone else you want to mention, Alex?
I mean, the Bamba Dieng thing's gone quiet.
So the club's interested in him. I've been reading today.
I don't know. I think I screenshotted a few things today while I was busy. Let me just double check for honourable mentions. There might have been something. I don't know where. No, I can't find it now. I did find a couple.
Roy says Pall Mall is a much better business address than Westgate Road. Yeah. Tom says even if they do live up here now, they'll still have the house in London. Bear in mind, we were away at Brighton on Saturday. It means it's highly likely they've been in London on Sunday anyway. Yeah. But I just think that there's a lot of spark there. There's certainly a spark, without a shadow of a doubt. But here,
I don't think I screenshotted it. Never mind.
That's fine.
There was one player floating around, and I can't remember who it was. I think I've missed one player. I don't think it was a very strong link, though. I think it was just a name that was floating out there via somebody. Everything that seems quite concrete are people we've talked about today. So,
yeah, well, there we go. That is the transfer show. Thank you very much to everybody that has tuned in. Well over 900 at one stage, which is absolutely fantastic. If you have enjoyed the show, please don't forget to hit that like button. It does help us in the search results on YouTube, puts us way up there. It's fantastic that we are still the #1 watched live show amongst the Newcastle channels, which is brilliant. I'm not saying any competition there, but it's just nice to be able to say that, I guess. Thank you for all the well wishes. It's been immense. Thank you so much, guys. I really do appreciate it. It is just a big family, this channel, and that's what we always aspire it to be. We really do care about each other, and we really do care about our subscribers as well, because the love is showed back. So it's great to have everybody on board and great to have so many messages to read. It does help me feel better as well. So thank you very much for that. Thank you to everybody that has super chatted tonight. With your generosity, again, blows us away. It really does. And a big shout out to Billy and Alex for holding the fort over the weekend and putting on some brilliant shows. Billy, fantastic watch along, and Alex coming on and is doing his little Gary Neville stint at halftime and full time there, which was brilliant. Obviously the review show yesterday was great as well, so thank you to you guys as well. Again, massive congratulations to Danielle for her game too. I think it's absolutely brilliant and great for the channel as well that we are getting noticed, so it's fantastic as well. Thank you to the mod squad as well. Some wonderful messages from the mods obviously over the weekend as well. Love yous all, so thank you very much. And of course to Susan, love you forever. Thank you so much for everything you've done over the weekend and everything you do every day, really. So thank you for that. We'll be back tomorrow night for the fan forum, of course, 8:30. Your chance to come on and join us and have your say. What did you think of the Brighton game? What do you think of the transfers that are rumoured? And obviously the game at the weekend coming up against Manchester City. Will we have anybody in before then? That is the question. But thank you so much for tonight, guys. Thank you, Alex and Billy. And we will see you tomorrow night for the fan forum. Good night, everybody.
How are the lads and lasses?